In fulfillment of its mandate, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, Naptip, implements a five-pronged approach of policy, partnership, prevention, protection, and prosecution in the fight against human trafficking and violence against persons. I am Emanuela Okeke, and you are watching Naptip on the Move. Thank you for joining us. On today's episode, we will bring you activities of the agency geared towards intensifying the fight against human trafficking and violence against persons. We will start with the Director General's visit to Kaduna State to participate in the training of the agency's intelligence and legal officers by facilitators of the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program of the British Council. Take a look.
The Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program of the British Council, ROLAC, in collaboration with the European Union, organised a training on investigation and prosecution of cases under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015. The training workshop commenced with a welcome address by Priscilla Ankut of ROLAC. Declaring the workshop open, the Director General of Naptip, Dame Julie Oka-Donley, commended ROLAC for the initiative and stated the agency's efforts towards implementing the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act.
The overall objective of this workshop is to examine in detail the provisions of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015 so that investigators, counselors and prosecutors will better appreciate the import of the law and how to apply it in order to curb the crime of violence. Naptip is a key stakeholder in the area of the program, which focuses on improving access to justice for women, children, and persons with disabilities through an advanced implementation of the VAP Act. At present, the VAP Act 2015 is only applicable to the FCT. I urge all other states in Nigeria to adopt this act as their state law, as it will tremendously help in curbing the crime of violence against persons, especially women and children. The agency has made giant strides in the investigation and prosecution of offences under the VAP Act. The agency has secured the conviction of 3 offenders within the period. We have been able to get compensation for 17 victims of VAP Act, totaling over 8 million naira. I seize this opportunity to thank the donor agencies, the British Council, ROLAC, and the European Union for always being there to serve humanity and making the world safer for the vulnerable ones, especially women and children.
After the opening ceremony, the training commenced in earnest. The representative of ROLAC, Priscilla Ankut, shed more light on the purpose of the training.
This training is focused on prosecutors and investigators of agencies that are in the forefront of ensuring that the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act is implemented. Within that law, Naptip has been named as the key coordinating agency for the implementation of the law, and therefore this training brought together core staff of Naptip from their investigation and their prosecution unit. So we hope that this training equips the relevant personalities that have been brought together with the necessary capacity and skills to effectively investigate and prosecute cases on violence against persons.
She also commended the Director General of Naptip.
We are really very pleased that the Director General has been able to come here in person. She is very serious about taking forward this responsibility that has been given to her by the law, and that she's willing to help her own team to gain all the necessary skills and capacities to be able to effectively implement this mandate.
Some of the participants commented on the training.
This training is a laudable one. As police officers, that we have the responsibility of enforcing law to ensure law that are made in this country are effectively enforced. This Violence Against Persons Act, some people are not aware of it, and those who are aware of it, they don't know how to ensure that it is effectively enforced. By the time I go back, I know I will be a better person. That is in the prosecution, because I'm a prosecutor as well. So I'll be able to make use of it effectively, and also do a kind of training within my units by telling my people how to go about making use of these VAP acts.
We stand to understand the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. We stand to understand the constituent components that shows, or rather indicators, for violence against persons, and the provisions mostly of the law concerning the violence against persons.
The full implementation of the VAP Act and prosecution of offenders will ensure the eradication of violence in Nigeria.
To foster regional partnership, Dame Julie Okadonli hosted the Zambian High Commissioner to Nigeria at the agency's headquarters in Abuja. Keep watching.
The Director General of Naptip, Dame Julie Okadonli, recently received a delegation comprising of the Zambian High Commissioner, Dr. Solomon Jere, and the First Secretary, Political, Obi Mambwe, from the Zambian High Commission in Nigeria. Stating the purpose of their visit, the Zambian High Commissioner, Dr. Solomon Jere, also commended the giant strides of the agency.
We thank the Nigerian government that they thought very prudently that they should create this very important institution and facility. Because without this institution, I think many lives are going to be lost. Zambia has to learn from what Nigeria has done. We don't have our own national institution that particularly deals with the protection. The only thing that we have for us is the prisons. But look at the way Nigeria has done. It's amazingly a good institution. And that is why we said we would want to go and see the Director General so that we can learn and, where possible, make propositions to our relevant ministries in Zambia so that the technocrats can come at that higher level, come and even visit, and then yourselves can also go to Zambia, see what is on the ground, and then we'll start exchanging notes for the betterment of our citizens.
Welcoming the delegation, Dame Julie Okadonli spoke on the strategies of the agency towards combating human trafficking and offered to assist in the training of Zambian officers.
Naptip is the federal government of Nigeria's agency mandated to fight human trafficking. We operate what we call the 5P strategy. We have the policy here, we have prosecution, where we prosecute the offenders, prevention, which we do through awareness campaigns, sensitization programs and all of that. Then we have partnership, which is what we're doing now. And we have protection, just protecting the rights of the victims and all of that. human trafficking is a global problem.
Yeah.
It happens all over the world. So if you can set up a similar organization like Naptip, we will be very happy to come and train your officers in Zambia and have exchange visits and share best practices and all of that.
She also raised the issue of domestic violence involving a Zambian citizen married to a Nigerian.
You have a citizen of your country that has been in a shelter over a year, January 19th, 2017. The woman who we call the victim and her children were residing in Jos, Plateau State, with a husband, a very abusive husband. And so, apart from human trafficking, we also deal with violence against persons. And so we rescued her and her children. We think it is time for you to step in, and whenever you're ready, she's at the shelter with the children. We can take you to interact with them, discuss with her, and take it from there.
Responding, the Zambian High Commissioner, Dr. Solomon Jere, pledged his nation's determination to resolve the issue. The meeting was very interactive, as both parties agreed to partner towards eradicating human trafficking in Africa. The Zambian victim and her family were handed over to the Zambian High Commission.
In Ondo State, the Osun Zonal Command of Naptip collaborated with the Ondo State Ministry of Women Affairs to train the state working group on human trafficking. Stay with us.
The Ondo State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, in collaboration with the Oshogbo Zonal Command of Naptip, organized a one-day training for the state working group on anti-human trafficking. The Ondo State Zonal Commander of Naptip spoke on the agency's mandate and efforts towards curbing the menace of human trafficking.
The agency observed the need to resuscitate the state and zonal working group in view of the recent increase in the menace of human trafficking to child labor and abuse in most states in Nigeria. The organization was also made with a view to increasing synergy amongst major stakeholders involved in the fight against human trafficking. It is also worthy of note that the agency on a yearly basis organizes the National Stakeholders Consultative Forum as a prelude to the annual commemoration of the World Day Against Human Trafficking. A nation confronted with human trafficking, this is an evil scheme targeted at the youth, cannot make much progress as the country is bound to suffer various consequences. Our children need to be reminded daily that the grass is not greener on the other side.
Delivering the keynote address, the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Honorable Omaomi Olatunji Edet, commended Naptip and gave a brief of the Ondo State government's efforts in the fight.
This meeting has been organized to strengthen the anti-human trafficking and child labor control structure in Ondo State. This is with a view to ensuring protection for children, women from falling victims to human traffickers and merchants of child labor in every part of the state. The fact that officials of the national agencies for the prohibition of trafficking in persons, that's the Naptip, are here with us will go a long way in putting the state working group in a good state to enable us to cope with challenges posed by the activities of human trafficking in Ondo State.
The president of NACTOL and Child Protection Network, Emmanuel Adaramola, shared relevant instances and called on all non-state actors to support Naptip. Participants were entertained by a children's traditional cultural group. The training workshop was attended by the Ondo State Permanent Secretary, Director, Child Development, Director, Planning, and representatives from the Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Civil Defense, and Nigerian Immigration Service, amongst others.
To stem the new trend of falsifying birth certificates by human traffickers, the Director General of Naptip, Dingley Okadonli, and her team paid a courtesy visit to the Director General of the National Population Commission. Don't go away.
As part of her efforts to curb human trafficking, the Director General of Naptip, Dame Julie Okadonli, and her team visited the headquarters of the National Population Commission in Abuja. Speaking on the purpose of her visit, Dame Julie Okadonli discussed the problems of human trafficking with respect to document falsification.
One of the major things that brought us here today is to intimate all of you here on the emerging trends of human trafficking through documents fraud, especially falsification of birth certificates by the human traffickers. We've had a number of cases where some people apply for visas and they find out that the birth certificates of the children have been falsified. Because the question is, if there is no fraud involved, why do you need to have a fake birth certificate? So lots of traffickers now are procuring fake birth certificates. And then I thought that it was very important for us to share this intelligence with you. I'm sure you have ways in which it's been very difficult for anyone to falsify your birth certificates.
She then called for closer collaboration.
I'm going to also kindly request from you to give us a focal person that we can work with, so that we can liaise with them on issues of documents verification, because we need to verify documents from time to time, and it will be good for us to have a team to work with, because we really need to cooperate, in all areas of mutual interest, exchange of information, which is what I'm doing now, especially in the case of documents fraud for the purpose of human trafficking.
The Naptip Director of Legal and Prosecution shed more light on the importance of authentic birth certificate and declaration of age.
It will really help us so much in Naptip when we're able to determine the age of a particular individual, to be able to know, because some of our offenses are based on age. Once we are under 18 or you are below a particular age or below 12 years of age, that is how we classify our offenses. So age is so material in doing our job. So that's why National Population Commission is so key as our partner.
Commending the agency's tireless work in the fight against human trafficking, the Director General of the National Population Commission, Dr. Gaji Ismaila Bello, promised to support the fight against human trafficking.
Here is an agency of government that is trying to create peace, stability, harmony, and the well-being of the members of the society, because the agency is out to rescue humanity from some of the most wicked individuals that society has. So on behalf of my commission and staff, Madam, we are going to give you every possible support in order to enable you to do a better job for humanity.
He also called for closer collaboration between both agencies.
We have been enlightened by your visit, and we can see that there are areas and windows of cooperation between the two sister agencies. Because ultimately both of us are working for the same government and we are working for our own country.
He then presented books on data analysis of Nigeria's population to the Director General of Naptip. With the agreement reached by both agencies, falsification of documents which aids human trafficking will soon be a thing of the past.
To prevent the trafficking of children and young persons, the Enugu State Zonal Command collaborated with a civil society organization to sensitize some students in Enugu and Anambra states.
The Naptip Zonal Command, Enugu State, in collaboration with Re-Educating Africans on the Risks and Dangers of Unplanned Journey Abroad, Rarduja, recently carried out a sensitization workshop at Queen's College, Enugu, where the Zonal Commander, Comfort Agboko, made a presentation on the types, effects, and consequences of human trafficking. From Queen's College, the team moved to National Grammar School, Nike, Enugu, to also sensitize the students as they are usually targeted by traffickers. The sensitization train also moved to St. John of God Secondary School in Oka, Anambra State. Public enlightenment is a major strategy of the agency towards preventing human trafficking.
To learn about the elements of human trafficking and child abuse, children from the African Broadcasting Network visited the headquarters of Naptip. The children at the Internally Displaced Persons Camp in Abuja and the Naptip shelter were also not left out, as the Director General and management staff of Naptip were on hand to celebrate Children's Day with them.
To commemorate the 2018 Children's Day celebration, children from African Broadcasting Network, in conjunction with African Independent Television, visited the Director General of Naptip, Dame Julie Oka-Donley, at the agency's headquarters in Abuja. Hosting a question and answer session, the children sought to gain knowledge on the issues of human trafficking. After the session, the children presented a gift to the Director General of Naptip. At the end of the interactive session, the children made a pledge to kick human trafficking out of Nigeria.
Stop human trafficking!
In a related development, the Director General and the management staff of Naptip visited the internally displaced persons camp in Abuja to enlighten them on issues of human trafficking, violence against persons, and child abuse.
The fact that you are here does not mean that you do not have rights that must be respected by everybody. The children here must be protected. I'm seeing a lot of children on their own without their mothers guiding them. This is very dangerous because these children can easily be raped. You must also train your children and tell them that if anybody touches them in a way that is not good, they should tell you and please report to Naptip. If anything has happened to any of you before or any of your children, please don't be ashamed to tell us. We will arrest those people who are responsible and we will make sure that we protect you.
She also made donations and celebrated the day with the children. From the IDP camp, Dame Julie Oka-Donley and her team visited the agency's shelter in Abuja to mark the Children's Day events with victims of human trafficking and child abuse. Public enlightenment of children and youth is pivotal in the prevention of human trafficking.
In recognition of her hard work towards the eradication of human trafficking and violence against persons, Dame Julie Oka-Donley received an award of excellence.
The Director General of Naptip, Dame Julie Oka-Donley, received an award for excellence in service at the Woman of Fire Annual Awards ceremony. The award, which was presented by Senator Grace Bent, is in recognition of her tireless fight against stemming the tide of human trafficking, domestic violence, and child abuse. This is to inform the general public that Perebi Nicole Otubo, a notorious human trafficker, is wanted by Naptip. Anyone with useful information on her whereabouts should contact the agency on this toll-free number 0703 0000 203 or 0800 225 5627 847. You can email info@naptip.gov.ng. Naptip, empowered to protect you. For more enquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking and child abuse, please call Naptip hotlines on 0703 0000203 or 0800 2255 627847 or email info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at Naptip Nigeria and watch our videos on YouTube.
This is where we draw the curtain on today's episode. Please support Naptip by reporting suspected cases of human trafficking, child abuse, and all forms of violence. A violent-free Nigeria is our goal. Hope to see you again next week. I am Emanuela Okeke. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.